the real agenda of educating black children.
What message are you sending to a child when they're failing school, but you're buying them the latest Apple Watch or Apple phone or whatever the day after? That sounds like a reward to me. So we have the media. I mean, when we were growing up, we had the Cosbys, right? Two highly, highly educated, professional adults. Their children were highly educated. They made sure that they valued their education. Now we have TT and Shay Shay and whoever else on there showing them how to apply false lashes and how to smuggle things into your school that you're not supposed to have. And I mean, the way the young ladies dress, the things that they see, it's going to make it difficult for them because they lack a certain level of confidence. Your hair isn't good enough. You need a weave.
Here's what they think about you.
Your hair isn't long enough and it's not going to grow, so we need to get you braids.
Here's what they think about you.
Your eyes aren't pretty enough, so you need to wear false lashes and you need to learn how to put them on every single day.
Here's what they think about you.
Your lips look dull. You have got to put gloss on them so that it looks like you've just been shellacked.
Here's what they think about you.
In order to be pretty. In order to be pretty. You're starting them very young, believing that they are not good enough and that they need all of this extra stuff in order to be pretty. Not to mention, you have to wear something that is so tight it's amazing that you can breathe to be considered attractive or appealing. You shouldn't be thinking about being attractive or appealing. You haven't gotten out of school yet. So when it comes to... Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to say. Another reason that I think children aren't receiving the quality of education that they need or will need is because it has nothing to do with them. It's not relatable.
That wherever students are able to see themselves in their educational experiences, whether it be in the teachers who teach them or in the material that they learn, they are more likely to achieve. This is because a bridge is created that connects them, who they are, and where they come from to where they want to go.
I've had books, I've had curriculum that did not include novels that it displayed a positive person of color. And their history is about Rome and Greece. They don't even know where that is. They don't have the imagination to be able to picture a place outside of their world because they're in a mile radius. When we're talking about the majority of our kids, the majority of the kids in our culture who are impoverished, they never leave a mile radius their entire lives. So, when we talk to them about, because I've tried this, when we talk to them about our influence on music, when we talk to them about the artists that were famous and struggled in order to be able to do what they wanted to do, to create. When I talk to them about authors and fables and the history of our history, then they show an interest because it's people who look like them.
In my time as a high school English teacher in St. Louis, Missouri, I personally contended with some of the struggles of inequitable resources and representation. My primarily African American students would often grieve about the gross lack of stories and educational content that featured them and their history as Black Americans. They explained how this erasure from their school curriculum often discouraged them from taking serious interest in subjects like history and English. And for many of my students, this erasure also discouraged them from the entire project of learning and schooling altogether. Where were my students in the nation's history? What were their contributions to American culture and society? My high schoolers yearned for the opportunity to stake claim to an educational experience that had otherwise seemed to be created without them in mind. As a Black Caribbean woman educator who so happens to have degrees in African American studies and cultural anthropology, I quickly came to realize how I was uniquely positioned, if not divinely appointed, to take this African American literature course and transform it into something that would be more responsive to my students' expressed need for deeper history of self. With the help of some incredibly talented colleagues, I was able to create a hybrid cultural studies, history, sociology, English course by literally contextualizing the literature we were engaging with the depth and breadth of Black thinking, Black writing, and Black organizing. My students came to understand that their contributions as Black Americans didn't simply span the United States from coast to coast. Instead, they came to learn that Black American people's struggle for equality, freedom, and justice was something that was interconnected with other such struggles led by people who belonged to the African diaspora across the world. In effect, my students came to understand that their impact as a people was global. It didn't take long for me to realize how by creating greater opportunities for my students to see themselves in their curriculum, I was also creating greater opportunities for them to value their unique roles as contributing members of their communities and as valuable citizens of their country. My students began to develop a deeper sense of belonging that empowered them to want to meaningfully participate in society, all because they were seeing and learning about people who look like them successfully do so.
You can talk about the American Revolution. Just put a person, an educated person of color, in your novel. That's all you have to do. He could be a blacksmith, because back then that was serious money, right? So he could be anything. And you could still explain. But I don't think that there is an interest, again, in sharing our history. We can't even acknowledge our collective history. We want to deny 200 years of slavery. We want to deny the impact that it has had on the people in this country in perpetuity, because we were told we were nothing. We were made to forget that we were kings and queens, village chiefs, medicine women. We've forgotten those things. And it's not taught to us. We're never told, you are royal. And it's hard for them to imagine that when they're sleeping on a mattress on the floor and they have food insecurity. It's hard for somebody to understand and believe that. I grew up comfortable. My father worked 3 jobs to send me to the best school he possibly could. I grew up with being an only child and being a girl. I had the big canopy bed with the little bar that hung down so that you were supposed to grab that and pull yourself up. And even with all of that fanfare, I still have to remind myself, you are descended from queens.
A return to royalty. A return. That means somebody is coming back to something that we once had. But somewhere along the way, we lost it. Return to royalty. If we are returning to royalty, then royalty was ours in the beginning. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the ending. For the ending of the world that took us away from royalty is the beginning of our journey back toward royalty.
Both sides. So, act accordingly. Make the choices that a queen would make for a population of 1 herself. Make decisions based on what a benevolent king would do, instead of what Fly 76 or the latest rapper, instead of making those choices.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
The choices that you see. Because obviously he didn't get stuck there.
They not like us.
You're buying his music and watching his videos. He didn't get stuck in doing all this stuff that he's showing you.
They not like us.
He has a business manager and he has to make sure